really well, we need to know two things in technology. One is SQL, PLSQL, and the other is JavaScript. A bit of JavaScript and HTML, because whatever the UI we see in the Apex, that would be drag and drop, or like one click. But if we need any customization to be made in the script, then we need to know this JavaScript. So this is what about Oracle Apex. Now, why people are going to this Oracle Apex and not to other technologies? The main advantages I'll tell you about this Oracle Apex. First thing, if we are having already an product with an Oracle, and if it is an enterprise version of the database that we have already purchased from that we already have a subscription from Oracle, then this Oracle Apex is as in free from this Oracle um, company. They do not charge anything for this Oracle Apex technology, as in, because this technology is now booming into the market, but previously it has not grabbed so much business into the market. Now, the good thing about this Oracle Apex is we need not to install any software or anything into our client system or our local system. It is a web-based application where we do the development in the web application. We do the development in the web application itself, and then we just run our application in the browser itself. So no extra work needs to be done in this Oracle Apex. This is the main advantage in our of this Oracle Apex. So we will start with this Oracle Apex. So as you can, I guess you are able to see my screen.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So as it says, like Oracle Apex is a browser-based application development environment. It doesn't need any client software to deploy or develop or to run any application. To develop this application, we need SQL Workshop or PLSQL SQL and a bit of packages procedures that while we are doing the application, we'll go through that. It is just an overview of this application, so no code is generated, as like if you see in Java or in OFADF as well in of the Oracle product itself. When we write any code, we have a source code and we have a class file where we create a jar of a class file, deploy it to the server, and then bounce the server to see the changes in our development instance, whatever we have developed. So in this application, nothing such is done. It is just the code that we write in the browser, and we run the application directly itself or the particular page, and then we can see the changes in our web browser. We need to know SQL, that is must, and a bit of PLSQL also. Now the risk is less for the developer, as because we are not deploying into 10 different instance, means 10 different substance. We are not incorporating with many things, so the risk of losing some of the components or mismatching with the other components is very less. That is what it says about. This is please don't go through this screenshot. This screenshot is of the earlier version, but it is just an UI I am trying to show you with this Oracle Apex. To have an hands-on with the Oracle Apex, we already have Oracle already gives 25 MB of a free space where we will be doing the our hands-on while we are going through the slides. So if you go through this site, just to this Oracle Apex, you will be seeing get started for free. So if you just click on that, it will say for a request for a free request for a free workspace. You have to give your first name, last name, email address, and workspace can be of anything. You can give some workspace of your own and click on the next. By there are 4 5 steps. By doing this, you will be getting a workspace created in the Oracle site itself, which is a freeware, and we can do all kind of development over there. Can you please quickly do it in your system? Because I have already done it, and if you face anything problem, we can go through it now.
Sure.
So you will be getting an email something like this, where you have the workspace, whatever the username you have given, and with the environment. And we need to click on this create workspace, and that will redirect to page of this one.
So first thing is that like I have to do it for the get an environment, right?
Right, exactly. First thing we have to get an environment. So this is the link I am just pinging you in the chat.
Wow, it is asking for a mobile number and all.
No, mobile number is not needed. Can you please share your screen? Is it a mandatory? Yeah. No. We are in the wrong thing, Prashant. Can we open a new tab once more? Yeah, or that one.
You can see my screen, right?
Yeah, I can see your screen. Please click
Okay.
on it.
So this is not the one that you think that's, I mean.
No, Prashant. I don't think this is the one, because this is a sign up for the cloud, Oracle Cloud. We are not going to do anything with this cloud.
Okay.
You can either click open a new browser or go to the previous one.
So, this is where I went to.
No, I don't think this is the right one. Just click on this Oracle app. Right in the request, you have to go down. One second. Go down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Request for a free workspace. You have to click over there. Yeah, right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. Just give your details here.
This is no, right? For university class or training?
No, yes, right. Yeah, just give something like we just for the training purpose or just for the understanding purpose we are going through this.
Ashish?
Yes,
So this session's recording and will you share to us?
recording. I haven't started yet. Okay, let me do that one.
Yeah. So I didn't receive any.
Yeah, it is
So,
already recording. I'll share you the recordings.
okay. And yeah, I got an email. So create,
Yeah.
got the credentials
Okay.
and create work. There is a tab, create workspace.
Okay. Can you refresh your email, please, Prashant?
I did not get mine yet. I am just waiting.
It will take some time,
Oh, yeah.
Prasad.
Yeah. Okay, so you are able to log in, Chandra, right?
Yeah, I got credential. Let me log in.
Yeah, you will see there in your email you will be getting something like request workspace. So you have to
Yeah,
that one, it will redirect to a page. Just keep the password.
okay.
Just wait for 3 minutes, Chandra. It will trigger a mail to you.
Yeah, I already got the mail.
Sorry, Prashant.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
I got it.
yeah, yeah. You can just click on that. Yeah.
Continue to sign in.
Yes, right, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I changed the password.
Change password, right. Yeah, absolutely. So you can keep this link somewhere, Chandra and Prashant, either in your desktop or somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this link?
Yeah, that link.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Or you can bookmark as well. Anything would be fine.
Yeah, that's all right.
Chandra, are we good? You are done with the up to this step?
Yeah, just a moment.
Okay. Chandra, Prashant, can you stop sharing? I'll share my screen.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Thanks.
Where is that?
In the top, Prashant, you can see in the green color something would be
Oh, yeah,
coming.
stop share. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ashish, we can.
Okay, fair enough. Good. So, if you see in my screen, in our screen we have something like app builder, we have SQL workflow, we have team development, and we have a app gallery. Okay. Um, what these four things tells us about is the in the app builder we are going to do all the UI stuffs of our application, all the UI stuffs. There is no other place where we will be doing our UI. Okay, so you can see, and in our SQL workshop we are going to write our PLSQL and SQL code, whatever we want. In the team development, if we are developing one application and we have five people in our team, we can see through the team development how much is the progress we have done for the application, how much is the task left, and who is developed of what components in the application. App gallery is like they already have some default application installed in the Apex, which we can download and which we can see. This is what this four things talks it about. Now, if you see in the top, we have the application builder, the same thing. Now, the application builder can be created from a few things, like it can be a database application, or it can be created from a website application, or it can be made created from the application itself. Other is the SQL workshop, where we can see our objects, whatever is there in our SQL in our database. Then we have a command to write. If the command is more than 5,000, 6,000 lines, then we go through the SQL script, where we write a script and just run it in the instance, and we can see the error if there is in the script with the line number, and with that what is the exact error in our script. And then we have the utilities. Utilities is just nothing but to import any data, or to export any data, or to run all sorts of things. We do it in these utilities. And the last is the RESTful services, where we have a third server which is not an Oracle or a non-Oracle server, and we need to interact or to get the information from those servers. Then we go for this RESTful servers. Okay, team development is like where we have a milestone, we have utilities, feedback labels, and app galleries, whatever apps they already have. It is just the sample apps of this in the app gallery. Okay, I will just go through this architecture first, then I will go through one of the one each of them. I think that would be very much helpful for us. Let me go through this architecture first.
Yeah, Ashish, this is just
Yeah.
a simple question. So this Oracle Apex is mainly is for reporting the data, like for visualization, or like any so development kind of so using this tool. So I'm just a little bit confused in that.
Sure. So we do this Oracle Apex is both for the reporting and as well as the development purpose. It has forms and reports both in the Oracle Apex.
Okay.
Okay.
So, I mean to say we can develop the web applications also using this.
Exactly. We can develop the web
Yes.
application. We can write we can get a post and get RESTful services in through this Oracle Apex.
Okay. So you using forms and reports on that our Oracle thing.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
And just to give a brief of this, whatever in the EBS, so we can also get this thing our incorporate with the EBS as well. Because in the EBS we have like responsibilities, and we have menus, we have some menus, we have functions, so we can define our application in that specific areas as well. Uh, Suppose if we have created an application for 5 users, and all those 5 users are tagged to a different responsibility, we will be seeing those pages of the individual responsibility in this application. And once we are able to log into, once we have logged into the e-business suite, we will only we need not to log in again in our Oracle Apex. It directly takes the username and the password from the cookie, and it verifies from the Oracle database, and it gets it through the Oracle Apex page. What if you can see in this top this URL? uh, okay, let me go through this architecture, then I will explain you what this URL talks about, what this Oracle is telling me about. Okay, if you can see my screen, this Oracle Apex is a three-tier architecture. What this three-tier architecture means is, this is the web browser. Whatever we are whatever the browsing, whatever the browser we are using, this is the browser. In the middle we have the ORDS, and then we have the Apex services. This the web browser and the Apex services interacts through this ORDS. And ORDS is nothing but it is just an end services that is present in the Oracle Apex software. Okay, so suppose if we need to whatever the database we want to incorporate with, we want to install, as I said, we have to, while installing this Oracle Apex, we have to install this Oracle Apex in the top of the database. So it is like we have database in the down, and then we have ORDS in the top. Okay, so we have to just give the TNS name of the database, and that gets interacted with to the database. So whatever we are sending the request from the browser, that is going to the Oracle Apex engine and through this ORDS. So all the information that is going to and fro, that happens in the JSON format, and it is in the RESTful services request. It is not in some other language how this is going to interact with.
So you mean to say while installing the Oracle, so default it will come in the database, this Oracle Apex.
Yeah, so while you are installing into this database, in this ORDS, it is just we can see this folder while you are installing this Apex. In this ORDS folder, you need to give your TNS name, the endpoint of your database, so that it
Database.
will connect to that database which you want. It is as simple as that.
What is ORDS? So is it?
Yeah, so that is what it is, just an endpoint of this Oracle Apex, where through from where you are connecting to the database.
Okay.
So Chandra, I think you're asking for that full form of the ORDS?
Yeah, full form and
Or
then
it is their Oracle REST data services.
okay, REST data service. Okay, thanks, Prasad.
No problem. Sure.
If you see this diagram, whatever I am showing, this is the diagram which this architecture is earlier to the 11.1 database, which is no more in there. But I want to know you the difference between this and that one. Previously, what it happened, we have the web browser and we have the Oracle Apex engine over here. But in the middle, we had something like Apache and the mod PLSQL. So what this used to do, mod PLSQL, whatever the data we are sending through the web browser, first it used to go to this Apache mod PLSQL. And in this, it used to encrypt and decrypt all the messages that is sent through the web browser. And then it used to encrypt first, and then it used to send to the Oracle database. And same it was happening from the Oracle database to the web browser. It used to come to the mod PLSQL first, it used to decrypt, and then it used to go to the web browser through where we can see our pages, which it used to load. while while this whole procedure was doing, it was taking more time, as because we were consuming some time in our mod PLSQL in between, which now has been removed. And now this mod PLSQL has been incorporated with the Oracle database, means Oracle Apex Engine itself, means Oracle database with embedded PLSQL gateway. If you can see that here itself, now this mod PLSQL has been incorporated. So if any request goes from the web browser, it directly goes into this Oracle database where the PLSQL, where the Oracle Apex Engine decrypts and encrypts the message and directly sends to the web browser. This is the architecture. Any question? Any doubts?
So this architecture, like, it's basically like, if anything needs to be done, it will be done by the DBAs, right?
Right. So mainly the DBA task would be here to install this application in the database. And while if we are doing into a cloud or something, like when I did what I faced some challenges, like when I installed this Oracle application into the cloud, it was the services was stopping in every 5 to 10 minutes. So what we did, we have to install some we installed the Tomcat and Glassfish. Actually, we've gone to Tomcat servers. We installed the Tomcat servers first into the cloud, and then we deployed this Oracle database application server into that. And while we were doing it, we just got this ORDS to the Tomcat, and the Tomcat was connecting to the database server.
Okay.
So this is how this whole architecture is about. Okay. Now let me come to the architecture of the Oracle Apex. Okay. Or this is just some few words. We can ignore this. Okay. Now this is about Oracle Workspace, Apex Workspace. Now we were just seeing the architecture of how it interacts with the database and how the server and the database resides with each other. The picture I am showing now, this is about how this Oracle Apex architecture is. So if you can see my screen, we have workspace. Okay, whatever you have created now in your system is one of the workspace, is one of the workspace that we have created. Inside one workspace, we can create many applications. Okay, so if you see our thing, so this is a workspace. This entire is a workspace, and inside this, if you click in this app builder, we can see there are many apps. Here there are two only, but we can have n number of application inside our workspace. So this is just what it talks about. Inside one workspace one, we have application A, application B. So this is a workspace. We have application with 88395 and 89386. This application A and B is just what this sample dynamic action and this sample 1, 2, 3, 4. The difference between this entire application would be this number 88395 89386. This is the auto, it is auto generated from the some sequence in the database, which we cannot change, or we cannot do anything. So the application discriminates from each other from this unique number which is generated at at the time when we are generating an application. Okay. So once this application is generated, we have a schema. Uh, the schema could be one or more than one schema, but this workspace can be decided under one schema or the other schema. Okay. Suppose like we have workspace one that is under schema W. So we have a schema W under workspace one. We could have another schema as X, which is under workspace one as well. Okay. And we have developers, the users and developers that you can see in the top, that can connect to any one workspace, or they can connect to multiple workspace as well. If you can see the first user that has been connected to workspace one, and it has parallelly connected to workspace two, but he can connect one workspace at a time. He cannot connect to two workspace parallelly. Okay.
So you are saying that, like, you know, one should be very careful while creating these workspaces, and then they have to keep in mind, like, you know, what is the objective of that workspace, and then suppose, say, like, you know, in my EBS, if I have to have some kind of, if I want to develop some application with the forms that deals with both, say, order management and then accounts receivables. So I should create one workspace using those two different schemas.
Okay.
And then deploy the application, right?
Right.
I cannot create one workspace for order management, one for AR, and then expect, like, you know, to have the application using the forms
Correct.
to both that. Okay.
Correct, Prashant. So if you if we have seen here, while we were creating this application, over there we had a place to give the workspace name. So if the image which we have got, we got with a workspace name as Access Wipro that you have given at the time. So that means you are creating this workspace one. So if you create different workspace for different modules, for invoice, for PO, for finance, so then you are creating different workspace for the different modules, which is not correct. You can, if needed, we can create different application inside a workspace, but workspace should be one, because in that database we are creating one of the workspace. Inside the workspace we can get many schema. We can have app schema, we can have access rew schema, whatnot. And once we have created this workspace, suppose like we have created this access Wipro, we can change the schema inside that. We can shift from app schema to the other schema through the other schema. That is possible. But if you are creating a different workspace altogether, then you cannot go from schema W to schema Z, because
Okay.
the schema W is in workspace one, which you cannot connect to from workspace 3 to schema W.
W. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Hey, Chandra, like, you know, like, my questions may be towards this Oracle EBS. So, like, you know, if you have any questions and all those things, you know, just feel free to ask.
Yeah, I got it. Thanks.
Chandra, any questions, Chandra?
No, right now I'm fine, so no issues.
No issues? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, now let us go through the application. Uh, so okay. So once we are into the application, we will create an application. So for creating of an application, we'll click on the app builder. Okay, we will click on the create. Now my application can be from a file, something like it can be from some file, or it can be or it's from the sample whatever it has, or I can create a new application of my own. So I am creating as of my a new application altogether. I can give a name for this. I have to give a name for this application. Whatever you can see in this in this text box as a icon here in the over here as an gray color, that is a mandatory field for this application. Okay, so I'm giving like now here if you can see I have something, I have given my application name, but I cannot give my application number which I showed. It is an auto generated. If we come down, this was not there in the previous one, but now it is there. Sorry, I have an application number, but I cannot give the same application number which is there already. It will throw me an error. Okay, once I am creating it, this is auto generated from the backend itself. If I click, you can see here features. In this features, we have something like access control. So once I click on this, will have the access control of our application build itself. I need not to create the access control explicitly for our application. Okay, we will have about the page, we will have the configuration option, we will have the feedback, we will have the activity report, we have the steam styling selection. If we unclick of any of this will be not created at the time of creation of this application, but we can incorporate it later. So it is in either way, if how we want. By default, we will have one page created in our application, that is the home page we can see, and it will be a blank page. If we need to add any page, we can add a page. It can be a blank page or a card, means it is a different kind of forms and reports, whatever we can see in this by clicking on the add page. So either we can add or need not to add, we can add it anyway later. So I'm just clicking on the whatever the features we have. I'm not clicking on the activity reporting and the steam styling selection because it is not needed. The main thing over here is the access control, because through this only, as I was telling Chandra, if we have different responsibilities and we have many users which you need to restrict page wise or module wise, then we need to have an access control to get that thing done. That's it. And then we just click on the create application. Our application is getting created and we can see there.
So if you don't click on the access control, so it will be to all users. So we're all having.
Exactly, Prashant. It will be to all users, but later you can go and create for that application control explicitly.
Okay, so we cannot customize like command wise. We cannot give like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we
yeah.
have to,
Right, but see, if you want to do like that, first, just now I have created this, and this is some of the pages that it got created by itself. So
Mhm.
what we one second, let me just. Okay, so if you can see here, I have got something like administration page. This
Mhm.
This we will not get it by default. We have to do it. We have to write the codes and we have to do it. We have to give the access control. We have to give the configuration option. We can do it through code, but we have to write a huge code for this, which will be just given automatically if we just opt for that option. That's it.
Oh,
Nothing more than that.
oh, mm,
So whatever the pages that we are going to create in this application, it will just already be shown in the access control. Okay.
yep.
Okay, now what I was telling that time is if we go to any of the application. Okay, so we have this URL, whatever we can see in this page. Okay, so this URL means something actually. Okay, I'll tell you what this whole thing tells us about. HTTP is what is this is a secure network. We can either go for an HTTP also. It need not to be a HTTPS. If you are going for a HTTPS, then we need to have a wallet. We need to have a Commodore certificate that needs to be installed in the server. So if we are going to do that steps, then this will be an HTTPS. Chandra.
Mhm.
Okay. But by default, when you install this Oracle Apex and you run it, it will only show HTTP. It will not show HTTPS. Okay.
Okay.
There are a few more steps for that. I can give you the document or I can share you that how to do this thing. After that, we have seen this apex.oracle.com. This is nothing but the server name. Actually, here we are seeing as apex.oracle.com. But when we actually do it in our local server or somewhere, we will be seeing it something like this. It will be something like okay. It will be something like 123.45.65 point something. So this is nothing but whatever is your database server in which our database is residing, that server you can see it here. So this is nothing but the server in which Oracle Apex is been installed. Okay,
Mhm.
am I clear?
Yep.
Okay, and then we have this PLS and Apex. That is the folder inside the database which we have. So our ORDS resides in this PLS Apex. Okay,
Okay.
and then we have FP. This is a default one which is there in Apex. That is F comma P, F question mark P. This is nothing but it is just a syntax from where our application starts. So this would be our application number. This application number may not be like same of this one. This is the default which Oracle Apex takes from itself. And then we have this one, and then this is the session ID. This would be the session ID, and then we have the page number, and we have whatever we are changing it, page flow id, page flow id. This is the page number, and then so if whatever we are going to click, so if I am going to click on this run application, if I'm going to page 1, page 2, you can see all those pages here,
Okay.
page number 1. So just now I came back from the page number 1. That is why it is showing me page number 1. I can then, if I go to 1 2, then I can see my page number 1 2 3. So all those information you can see here in our this URL itself, and this would be stagnant every time. This cannot be changed anytime. I mean till here the session ID will be changed as you are logging into the system, and this will change from here onwards. Okay, this is what
Okay.
the URL talks about. All I mean, this is what about URL in
Okay.
Oracle.
So for the HTTPS, so we need to write a code for that one, or so again it will be default. We can any templates that we can modify that one.
You're talking about modifying this.
Uh, the you said the HTTP and HTTPS. That's one.
Yeah, right. So when you install the Oracle Apex, by default, that would be HTTP. Okay. To make this HTTPS, that is, this is a secure network, right? So to
Yeah.
make this secure network, we have to install the wallet. That,
Wallets.
okay. And inside that wallet, then you have to give the Chrome or the Mozilla Commodore certificates, whatever is there.
Oh.
Once you are able to do that steps, once you install the wallet, basically then the endpoint will become HTTPS.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
That would be something like company specific if they need or they don't want.
Mm.
Uh, Chandra, are we good till here?
Yes. Yes.
Uh, Prashant, are we good till here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So as I was telling, like I'll just run this application. So this is a application. So as you have seen, as we told earlier, this is just a web browser application where we need not to install any software or anything. So we have not installed anything. It is just in the it is just in the URL itself where we are developing and where we can see the reporting form, this, that, everything. We'll go through that, creating the forms and things. But this is why it talks about this is a web browser application. It has one disadvantage, and that is if I have one application, suppose this is the application and I have this page, I have one home page, and if 5 developers are doing the development in this page itself at a time, then that is going to affect that 5 developers, because they can because if one is developing, the other changes will not be reflected over here, or one changes would be there and the other changes would go. So it is recommended that once a developer is doing a change in one page, it can either create a replica of this application and then deploy the change together, or the development should done one at a time in the application.
No, Ashish, could you please come again? I was.
Okay. As I said, this is a web browser application. Okay, so
Mhm.
if I have a page, that is page home one. Okay, and I have 5 developers in my team. Those are accessing this home page parallelly.
One single page. The page, I mean to say,
Yeah,
on the example page one. So
right.
the page one is accessed by all 5 developers.
Yeah, all 5 developers at a time,
Okay, at a time.
and all 5 developers are creating one item in this page at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then there are chances that all the 5 developers changes would not be seen in this page,
Okay.
because I am actually accessing the page at a time with the 5 different sessions. So
Okay.
Oracle may not be 100% sure, because this error has occurred. It is not Oracle doesn't commit all the sessions at a time, and when it commits a session, it leaves the other session. All the 5 changes, because Oracle doesn't know which if I am committing some changes, and that is session one, and in the same time I have just committed one more changes which was in session three. So Oracle doesn't know which one to keep and which to remove.
Is
So
there any way to control that? Like, only if one person checks this particular page first, and then
right,
the second developer cannot really.
correct,
Uh,
correct. There is a way. If we are doing changes in our page, then I can lock this page. So
Okay.
this page would be only accessible to me. When the other user logs in, it would be shown like those pages are not accessible to the other user.
Okay.
So it will be auto lock from the Oracle, or like manually we have to
No,
like
you
lock
have to
the
log.
page.
No, you have to log it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So suppose if
Yeah.
if that person, the developer one, has logged and he forgot to unlock that page. So what will be the case that in that case, so we have
So,
to wait for until he unlocks.
right. So developer two cannot be, it cannot do any development and unless developer one unlocks. And
Oh,
but
okay.
but but he can see the code and whatever the things he have done, developer one. Okay, he can see everything in the page. He can run the page. He can run the application, but he cannot edit or he cannot modify anything. That is only the challenge.
But the admin should be able to,
Um,
intervene and then release that lock, right?
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Right. Because if the developer two unlocks himself, then there is no point of giving this
Exactly.
feature of logging and unlocking.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So, I'll just quickly go through the slides. I don't, I usually not prefer the slides, but still just for uh, understanding, I have not left something. So we have gone through this where we have seen we will be writing, we'll be giving the workspace, and workspace is nothing but whatever the workspace is been we are creating, and inside our workspace we will be creating different applications. So just now we have created one of the application, and if you go to the app builder, we can see three different applications. So these are the different application inside one of the workspace. And my workspace was XXRE, whatever I have given. Okay. So that we will give by the time of installation of the Apex itself. Okay. And then we have given just the username and password and created that workspace. That's it. Now we have different roles actually in this Oracle Apex. We'll go through this. We have something like a workspace administrator, we have a developer, and we have an end user. These are the three major roles we have in Oracle Apex. Workspace administrator is basically the admin person. This will be mostly this access. Usually, it would be with the DBA people, or they keep this access. Then we have a developer, and then we have an end user. Work in the workspace administrator. We so whatever the role we have just now in our screen, this is a workspace administrator. We are having an admin role. Okay, if we see here, okay, yeah, we can see here currently we are the administrator. Okay, if we so I for an administrator we will be have all the roles. We can just create application, we can delete application, we can delete the entire application itself, database itself, everything we can do it through this. So for an administrator, they can create any user account, they can monitor the workspace, they can see how much space is required, how much space application is taking, and so forth and so on. So everything is been done through this workspace administrator. For the developer, we will be not having these many roles, and we will be not uh, we cannot create this workspace as well here. Whatever the workspace that we have created previously, we will not have the privilege to create this. We will be only have the privilege to create an application inside the workspace and the pages inside the workspace. So whatever we can do inside this we will be have the access of that, mainly not access to this page. We'll have the access to this page, but you cannot do anything here. Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, I understand that. So suppose say there are some 2 or 3 workspaces. So we expect to see some 2 or 3 workspace administrators, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then suppose say do we also have another do we have an Apex administrator or something like that other than the workspace administrator?
No, this Apex, the workspace administrator, that means Apex workspace administrator. These are both same. Workspace is nothing but the Apex administrator itself. We don't have another administrator, anything other than workspace administrator.
Maybe the Oracle admin, that guy can have no access this managing. I mean, administering these things.
When we are installing this Oracle Apex, at that time there would be a default username and a password that we will be providing. Okay, that is Apex 123, and the password is also Apex 123. That is nothing but that is the admin of the Oracle Apex. Okay, that you are telling, Chandra. Okay, but workspace administrator is once the admin has been installed, they are create many workspace administrator. It cannot. It is not like in this we can have only one administrator. We can have 10 administrator, but the admin can only be one.
Okay.
The developer can be a n number of developers, and the end users can be a n number of end users. Now, what is the difference between this developer and the end user is like whatever when we create any page, like whatever the page and the application that we have. So suppose like we are having this page, a home page, the end user could only run this application. It will only have the facility to run this. They won't be able to see this. They won't be able to see this edit of the page. I mean to say we have home application edit. So if you click on this edit, this is the page architecture, how it looks like, and we can do all sorts of development here. The end user will not have the privilege to access these things. They will only have the privilege to access or to see whatever the UI you are showing to them. That's it. No code substance means no code changes, no page edit, no configuration changes, nothing like that. If you give specific to them to change any configuration, I mean if you give them the access of the administrator where they can go and add a user or something like that, that is different story. That they can change access, or they can go to any user and they can change the role of them or add of them, then that is a different story. But by default, then the end user will not have the access to this administrator as well.
Okay, this may be you may be saying about this particular topic, but if the normally in practice, developers will do their work in a development environment first, and some corporations, they do not want the developers to have direct access to the production. So any development has to be done, tested, approved in the development, and then normally what we do is send that code to the production administrator, and then with the instructions how to deploy that. So is that same thing? Can something like that be done in Apex also?
You're right. To answer your question, I'll tell you. Suppose I am the developer as well as the administrator in this environment, and this is a dev environment. Okay, now I am going to, once my development has been done, I am going to deploy my application into any stage or a production. So once I am going to deploy into the stage or the prod, currently my user has been assigned as the administrator role or a developer role. Going forward, I am not going to give this user as an administrator or a developer. I'll give myself as an end user. So I cannot do the changes directly in the next server. I have to deploy my changes if I need any changes. So if I give if I click add user, if you can see here, so I just give as a um, I just give some other user, and I just give not an ad administration as a contributor or a reader. And if I give this and I click on add user, so for this user, he is not able to do any changes directly in the application itself, in the other server, other than this development. So likewise, we are going to restrict that user or a developer not to change any code in the staged instance or the prod instance. You will only have the reader just to see if the application is running perfectly or not.
Okay.
Prashant, any other question, Prashant?
No, that's it. That's it. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Chandra, any other
Yeah,
doubt?
that's fine, Ashish.
Okay. Chandra, so Chandra and Prashant, like I think I have gone through this basic architecture and all. So from tomorrow onwards, we will be going through forms and reports. So are we good with this time, or are we good for today's session, or anything I need to bring up more in my thing or anything? Any suggestion?
Yeah, one question for today, like, do you have the entire course, what will be covered and all those things? Just can you just give a brief review of what we will be doing for this, and for this course?
Yeah. I have that.
And also, Ashish, do you have a material on this? So will you provide the?
Uh, I have this slides which I can provide you. Just give me 1 second. I will. I am trying to find. I am trying to take out that, pull out that post detail. Yeah. So basically, we'll be going through. This is the course detail. Basically, what we will be going through. So we have something like we have like introduction of the Oracle Apex that we have done, Apex demonstrating application. Then we have a builder concept, so URL syntax and the Apex that we have gone through today. We will be seeing, we will be using the Oracle workspace, SQL workspace to create or to write any PLSQL and SQL in the Apex, and then we will be creating an application. We will be understanding what is the Apex, the regions, the page, the forms in the Apex. Then creating of interactive reports. These are like different kinds of reports that we have. We have different kinds of forms. We also that is there. We have different buttons. How the button interacts with and how it is processed. We have shared components, like if we are using a component on, if we have one component and that needs to be used in different pages, how to do that, how this page processing has been done, themes of the Oracle Apex, the security, and then deploying this application into another instance.
Okay, there is nothing on the RESTful services and all those things.
Here, whatever the description that I got it here, I cannot see any RESTful services. But if you want to know about RESTful services, whatever I have developed, I can show you that one.
Okay.
We can go through that RESTful services. So in my career, I have already interacted with the EBS tool. I have also I have also interacted this Oracle Apex with the LDAP and created RESTful services to interact with the other servers as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so anything specific that you want, you please let me know. We'll go through that. That is not a big deal.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe if it is that, do you want me to go what my plans are, or you want to do it on a different day?
No, it is just in your choice. If you want to go, if you want me to go through this, I'll go through this. If you want something to be taken specific, once the basic has been completed, I mean at least the forms and reports, I'll go through that first, or the either way, if you whatever you people want.
Okay, yeah. Let's go through the the syllabus, whatever that they have put in. That's
No problem. So once I'm going through this, once I'm done with these forms and reports are basic stuffs, I'll go with the RESTful services, because if I go through now, it will be difficult to understand how we are creating forms and reports and how we are interacting with the RESTful services.
yeah. Let's go in the structure. I may be jumping with my questions and all those things.
No problem.
And then, but feel free to stop me, and then cover what you in the sequence that is best for you. You are the expert here.
Sure. No problem. Chandra, any questions?
Yeah, I'm fine, Ashish.
Okay. Thanks, Chandra. Thanks,
Yeah.
Prashant. Then we'll meet
So
tomorrow.
tomorrow at the same time, right?